to Unravel with Natly Denise.
What up, what up, what up, what up? Happy New Year to everyone. What do I got in chat going on? Ken, oh, come on, don't do this today. Don't do this today. Cheese and crackers. What is going on? Why is this happening? Let me see. Definition. There we are. Okay, that's better. What's up, guys? I hope you are having a wonderful year so far. You know what I missed out on my last podcast? I missed out on saying, I'll see you guys next year. You know that cheesy little line that people say right before New Year's? I missed out on the chance. I lost it. Now I have to wait an entire year to use that. I'm going to have to set a reminder. What's going on, y'all? What is going on? Bill or Andrew, the truth is coming out. Who is going down first? Wig snatching time. Who's going down? What are you guys talking about? Bill or Andrew? Am I missing something here? I think I'm missing something. Please inform me, educate me. Who is Bill and Andrew? De Blasio or Cuomo? Is that what you guys are talking about? Are you talking about the nursing home scandal? Oh, Maxwell case. Okay. I was like, wait, are we talking about something else? Got it. Well, it looks like Prince Andy is actually gonna face some implications. There's actually some news tonight about that. I wanted to start off by just kind of monologuing just my gratitude to you guys and just the gratitude for this podcast. I know it's small, and I worked pretty much half the year in building this podcast very consistently, and I think I've been pretty consistent. But, I can't do it without you guys and even being interested in this type of alternative news. So I just want to give my thanks to you all for believing in me, sticking with me, and seeing past the BS that we've been through, I guess, together, because you guys are my viewers and you're viewing everything, I guess. And now I have to just realize that everything is just out there, and there's going to be haters, and there's going to be, this is just the start of a lot that's probably going to go down this year, because I'm going to do a lot. I've already got a lot planned out. If you are in Austin, Texas, February 5th, there will be a rally at the Capitol, and I will be set to speak in Austin, Texas on February 5th. So if you are in Texas and this rally is sort of it's a call to action. It's a rally where it's like, don't just come to the rally and go home. It's come to the rally, learn, and then go home and take action on our communities, especially if you're in Texas. This is something you don't want to miss. And I will be, of course, speaking on the matters of human trafficking. Hey, Sophia, thank you so much for modding for me today. So if you guys are in town or are willing to drive to Austin and you're in Texas, please make it out to Austin, Texas, February 5th. I will be speaking alongside many awesome speakers. Apparently Chad Prather, Alan West. There's just a lot going on. So it's pretty cool. Pretty honored, So I've got to start promoting that on my Instagram. What else? Yeah, and listen, this is what I also learned over the break. The haters are never going to stop finding something to hate on you for. You can be doing you can literally, this is literally Jesus. Jesus had haters, right? He can walk on water and people will say it's because he couldn't swim. People are always going to find a fault or an imperfection that they're going to come at you for. And what I realized over the weekend is even negative attention is still attention for them. So long as we are giving them attention in any sort of light, they still seek that attention. And what I find is that these people are just going bonkers, not getting the attention that they want. They want me to say their name. They want me to repost their profiles. They want me to repost, their content. And that's what they want. And I realized, like, even negative attention is something that they want, and you cannot allow them to have it. And if you starve them of that, it starves them of their power, and they can't have it. That's my little monologue. Let's move on to the news. And we're going to start out with this. Well, yeah, we'll start out with this. So you guys know who Elizabeth Holmes is, yeah? She is a tech CEO. She was like lying and basically frauding a bunch of people, on some innovations that she had. She was found guilty recently. Elizabeth Holmes has been found guilty of 4 counts of wires fraud after a jury in San Jose found that she deceived investors into sinking more than $945 million into her faulty blood testing machines. The former Theranos CEO was acquitted on 4 counts, and the jury of 8 men and 4 women would not reach a decision on 3 counts. Prosecutors can choose to retry those counts at a later date, but have not given any indication if they plan to. A conference. Where did I move off? I lost it. A conference will be held to decide whether to seek retrial next Wednesday. Each count carries a maximum sentence of 20 years, terms that are likely to be served concurrently. Holmes is expected to appeal. She ignored the reporter's questions as she left the courthouse in San Jose on Monday after the verdicts were returned. Legal expert Niyama Ramani, a former federal prosecutor, said she thinks Holmes' sentence will likely sit closer to a maximum term because of the $935 million, which is close to $1 billion, involved in fraud. So let's get to the cut. Why was she in trouble? Investors testified that Holmes made misleading claims about Theranos, which was that says its machines were being used in the field by the U.S. military. Sorry, I had to put something on the charger. Former patients told jurors that they would not have used Theranos test if they had known the tests were flawed. Prosecutors said that Holmes had been truthful. Had Holmes been truthful with investors and patients, the venture would have never attracted critical funding and revenue. She chose fraud over business failure. She chose to be dishonest, Assistant U.S. Attorney Jeff Shank said at the start of the closing arguments. That choice was not only callous, it was criminal. Holmes could face up to 20 years in prison and fined $250,000 plus restitution for each of the 9 counts of wire fraud, 2 counts of conspiracy. Woo, buddy. So she was out here. Well, I mean, I wait to see people frauding the American people. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to get these. You probably recognize her with this. She always wore like a turtleneck, and she like had a deeper voice when she talked and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, this is good, but I can't wait to see when people are held accountable for frauding the American people on a planned apocalypse scandemic, if you understand what I'm talking about. So it's always good to see justice, but yeah, the fact that there's bigger things going on, that's what I want to see come down the pipeline. Right, moving on. Resident Biden may have finally realized that shutting down America over cocoa is a wrong move. You think? As common sense red state governors have known all along, writes former restaurant empire CEO Andy Putster. As we approach the end of the Biden residency's first year, there are positive signs that a shift is in its approach in fighting the cocoa plant apocalypse. Increasingly, the administration was adopted the more balanced approach and left so harshly criticized as lockdowns swept the nation, but that red states such as Florida have enthusiastically embraced. After 2 years of pleas by those of us who advocated for this common sense approach, it's fair to ask why the Biden administration is suddenly embracing it. In the word to answer its reality. The Biden residency has grossly underperformed and expectations. He is set to respect to fighting the cocoa and Americans notice. Reality can be hard to notice. Biden's oft repeated and spirited campaign vow that he would shut down the virus as given away the concession in reality. I mean, yeah, I mean, listen, Cocoa News, to be honest with you guys, like besides this, just realizing the obvious has been so boring. And I know, many people are still out there, fighting the good fight, still trying to push the truth and, trying to warn people not to take the boosters and the cocoa poke in the arms. And I respect it, but it's like, at this point, it's like, in the states where you have to fight for freedom, I understand. In the states that you have to, fight for your right to live in a what's supposed to be a free society, I understand that. I also believe in securing your local governments, and exposing that, is also it's a big onus to us. And I'll keep repeating it every single time that I need to. These local governments, they really, really need everybody's eyes on them. And, that's the unfortunate thing, is that, a lot of people get complicit in our day-to-day reality. And, we've gotten here because we have lost sight to everything that is surrounding us. And so with that being said, it's not just, let us into a restaurant. It's who's puppeteering those strings, right? So I always say it day in and day out. We've got to know who our local governments are. We've got to know who to fight, and what policies that are being weaponized against us. And that's the first step. Right, moving on. So Keanu Reeves, The Matrix. He's donating 70% of his Matrix salary to cancer research, which is admirable. Keanu Reeves is always like an angel, right? He's like one of the angels of the Hollywood scene. He's always doing right. He's always donating. He's always being like super humble, riding on trains and stuff. But let's see what he had to do. The patron saint of excellence does it again. Keanu Reeves donated a huge chunk of his earnings from the original Matrix movie to cancer research, a new report claims. Oh, this is the OG. This is the OG Matrix movie, not like the recent. I haven't seen any trailers or anything like that, but not the recent Matrix movie. Which, by the way, speaking of trailers, I actually have a story for you guys, and it's so impromptu, but it's something that I feel like I should actually cover with you all. Okay, let me get these screenshots to my computer. But anyway, back in 1999, Reeves was reportedly paid $10 million up front for the 1999 sci-fi flick, before earning a further $35 million when the movie became a box office blockbuster. According to Lad Bible, the actor donated 70% of the money, a whopping $31.5 million, to leukemia research. The cause was near and dear to Reeves' heart, as his young sister Kim had been battling the disease for 8 years at the time he made the donation. Kim was diagnosed with blood cancer in 1991 and spent a decade in and out of treatment before finally entering remission in 2001. Reeves was continued to give money to research in the years after Kim was cured, even creating his own cancer fund. Bless his heart, dude. Keanu Reeves is such a good person. The Speed Star secretly set up a nonprofit, which reportedly ran for years without any attention. I have a private foundation. It's been running for 5 or 6 years, and it helps aid a couple of children's hospitals and cancer research. Reeves is quoted as telling Ladies' Home Journal in 2009, "I don't like to attach my name on it. I just let the foundation do what it does." Meanwhile, in 2020, Reeves auctioned off a 15-minute Zoom date with himself with the money donated to Camp Rainbow for Gold, a summer program for Idaho children with cancer. The winning bidder reportedly paid more than $19,000 for a brief date with the Hollywood heartthrob. Interesting. Unfortunately for the winning bidder, Reeves is off the market. He has been dating artist Alexandra Grant for several years. The star also has a long friendship with actress Winona Ryder after they filmed Dracula together in the early 90s. The pair played lovers and their characters married in the movie. In November of last year, Reeves revealed that the pair may actually be married in real life as the priest conducted an on-screen nuptials in a church. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. So he might be married, like actually married to Winona Ryder. There would be a cute, I don't know, cute little gothy looking couple. All right. I saw something that Ken brought up. Ken says 2 parliament buildings have burned in the last 2 days, South Africa and Australia. I find that odd. Okay, well, let's actually take a look at that. That actually sounds interesting to me. So, parliament building fire. Let's take a look at that. South Africa Parliament. And then where else did you say? South African. What's going on with all the government seizures too? Remember there was one in Myanmar, and there's a few others. Where's the other one? Well, I can't find the Australia one, but okay, here's the South African one. So let's take a look at this. South Africa Parliament fire, roof collapses, entire floor is gutted. Sorry, it's from CNN, but this is what I got. So I'm gonna bring it up for you guys. Images from the scene showed flames shooting out the top of the building, sending plumes of thick black smoke into the sky above Parliament and into neighboring streets. The fire broke out on Sunday morning, and more than 12 hours later, dozens of firefighters were still working to bring the blaze under control. No injuries or fatalities have been reported. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa said it appeared that the sprinkler system did not work as it was supposed to, and the person was being questioned for authorities in relation to the fire. Okay, strange. How did the fire sprinkler not work? That's strange. You would think, like, these are some high-level people working in the buildings, and they didn't have like some sort of like safety code or safety efficiency check. The fire sprinklers didn't. That is strange, right? Ramaphosa praised firefighters for working to stop the parliament from being razed to ashes, but said the fire had devastated the parliamentary precinct and its contents and assets, including Parliament's historical treasures of heritage. J.P. Smith, a Cape Town mayoral committee member responsible for safety and security, told a news conference outside Parliament that the entire parliamentary complex is severely damaged, waterlogged, and smoke damaged. The roof above the old assembly hall is completely gone, and the offices adjacent to it and the gym are destroyed, Smith added. The National Assembly chamber behind me, which you can see is gutted. The structural ceiling has collapsed, and the fire had to be momentarily withdrawn. Okay, strange. Now, I want to know, what did you say? You said Australia? Australia? Let me see. Parliament building fire. Let me see. Australia. Okay, here it is. 5 days ago. Australia's old Parliament House is set on fire during protest. So the first one seems a little bit more conspicuous to me. This one says it's due to a protest, but let's see. This is coming from WAPO, the Washington Post. Protesters set fire to Australia's old Parliament House in Canberra on Thursday. Unless this is all an omen, yeah? Maybe this is an omen, I don't know. Officials said damaging the entrance to the historic building, this is in Australia, by the way, as demonstrators clashed with police and journalists. Well, we do know that in Australia, they have been backlashing against the government for being so oppressive with the mandates and just being overall very, very strict. So I'm going to assume that this is part of that. The circumstances surrounding the blaze were not fully clear. A group of people called People's Treaty had gathered at the old Parliament House in recent days, organizing its activities in Telegram channel seen by the Washington Post. Its users frequently referenced indigenous concerns. The group's website references the deep state and says it believes in dissolving all forms of government, and it opposes mandatory vaccinations and coronavirus restrictions. The administrator of the channel and the website would not be reached immediately for the comment. Another group known as 𝘏𝘠𝘬𝘮𝘢 Australia for Millions March Against Mandatory Poke in the Arm. Too late, I already said it, so I don't know why I'm coding myself. Anyway, live streamed the fire on Facebook. It had posted from Old Parliament House the previous day, vowing to return until the job is done. Yikes! And using the hashtag #TakeOldParliament. Yikes! Posts from this group were shared in the People's Treaty Telegram channel, though 𝘏𝘠𝘬𝘮𝘢 representative told the Post in the Facebook message that the group had nothing to do with what's happening and only had been asked to film the events at Old Parliament House. The building, which was home to Australia's federal parliament between 1927 and 1988, is a popular tourist attraction and houses the Museum of Australian Democracy. Police in Canberra said the protesters had started the fire in the main entrance following ongoing protest activity at the front of Old Parliament House over the past 2 weeks. The building was evacuated and the blaze quickly extinguished by firefighters with no injuries reported. Ooh, interesting. So Old Parliament House, these were angry protesters. We saw it in the Summer of Love, you know? We saw it in the Summer of Love everywhere, all around the world. I wonder if that's let's see. T says they pepper sprayed a smoke ceremony by First Nations. The spray reacted and set fire. Interesting. So it looks to be that they charged a man in the fire. Yeah, this is it is days apart. It is two parliaments. I don't know. The only thing I can say to that is maybe it's an omen for something. I don't know. Seems like an omen to me. All right, moving on. Coming from the New York Post, this is a very interesting story. New York Post, Spider-Man producer outed as the buyer of Gloria Vanderbilt's home. Okay, this home, you guys, is creepy. Have you guys seen the art in this home? Have you guys seen the art above Anderson Cooper's bed when he was a kid, took a picture with his mom, Gloria? It's very strange, very strange. Hollywood power player Amy Pascal has snapped up the glam pad of fashion legend Gloria Vanderbilt. Gimme has learned. And Pascal, producer of epic films like the current Spider-Man No Way Home hit, paid more than 100 times over the apartment's asking price to make sure that she got what she wanted. The apartment at 30 Beacon Place was on the market for less than a month before it went into contract, as we previously reported. The 2 or 3 bedroom, 2.5 bathroom co-op, which hit the market at $1.12 million, sold for $2.5 million, according to public records. That's an eye-popping 122% over the asking price. Why are you paying 122% over the asking price, I might ask? That's weird. That's suspicious. She bought Vanderbilt's former ground floor art studio for $950,000. The total of $3.45 million. Pascal is the former chair of Sony Pictures and the current head of Pascal Pictures, where she has also produced The Post, Ghostbusters, and Little Women. I mean, look at this art. Let's take a look around this little living room here. It's just very gaudy. It's very avant-garde and campy. You guys remember the Met Gala that one year where like all these stars like came dressed? Sophia goes red flag. Stop. No, I didn't need that right now, Sophia. I didn't need that right now. She said LMAO, red flag. Okay, you guys remember that Met Gala? It was the theme of it was called campy, right? And so all of the stars went in with these really wacky costumes. I think like what was that supermodel? Gosh, what is that supermodel's name? I'm blanking out right now. What's her name? Anyway, they went in and dressed in all of the like the weirdest costumes, you know. And this is what this reminds me of. I think, oh, gosh, what's her name? Anyway, she had like a banana. She had like a crown with a banana eyes and teeth, literally like a banana, and then she had like stripes on her face, and then like a striped suit. Anyway, it was the Met Gala. I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, look at this. Look at this art. Strange, very strange. Look at this art in Gloria Vanderbilt's house. It's just very campy, like just grapes and just like a montage of like random artifacts and such. Lots of saints. Okay. Very avant-garde. Lots of pictures of Gloria Vanderbilt. It's just very strange what rich people do with their money, eh? Lord, may I always have taste no matter what happens. May I always be coordinated and refined in my decor, whatever happens, God. Lord Jesus, that's I just want to be tasteful. So anyway, let's move on. All right, let's step into some trafficking news. All right, so I'm going to put on my Daily TrafficK, where I bring you the latest in human trafficking news. All right, moving into this. Ghislaine Maxwell. So last week she was found guilty. She was found guilty, actually. I'm going to... Let's actually do this right. Let's do this one right before the Daily TrafficK. I'm sorry, I apologize. Let's do this. Here's my bugs. Where are my bugs? Let's do this story because I think this story is actually hilarious. How can I miss this? Okay, you guys know who Andy Cohen is? So he's like the host of this late night pop culture show, and he invites celebrities on I believe it's E! He's a host. So he was drunk off his behind at New Year's, and he was letting Cuomo have it on camera with a few solid drinks. And this was probably the most hilarious thing I've ever seen in my life. So let's actually take a look at this video. Listen to this. Listen to this. It's hilarious.
Watching Mayor de Blasio.
Don't go on a rant.
Do his
Don't go on a rant.
victory lap dance after 4 years of the crappiest term as the mayor of New York. The only thing that Democrats and Republicans can agree on is what a horrible mayor he has been.
Wow.
So, sayonara, sucker.
Wow.
2022. It's a new year. Because guess what? I have a feeling I'm going to be standing right here next year. And you know what I'm not going to be looking at? Dancing as the city comes apart. You.
Oh my goodness.
Watching Mayor de Blasio.
I mean, talk about so drunk off his tush, yo. And he spoke the truth though. But like that, honestly, like, so it like pleasantly surprises me, right? That there are some awakened people up in, you know, the entertainment business. But like Andy Cohen is very surprising to me because again, he deals with day in and day out celebrities of many industries, but that is probably the most hilarious video that I have ever seen in my life. Mayor de Blasio. So apparently he had like some sort of reaction video.
Had so much fun though, and I hope you did too. Woke up to tons of questions wanting to know what I was drinking last night. Specifically, I was drinking 𝘏𝘠𝘮𝘢 tequila. And the Japanese soju I was drinking is called 𝘏𝘠𝘮𝘮𝘢. And it's new and it's wonderful.
But he's not apologizing.
So, there you go.
But he's not he is not apologizing though. Like he sticks to what he said.
Woke up to a bit overserved last night. Had so much fun though.
He said, "Yeah, I drank too much." Y'all heard that? Yeah, I drank too much. But he never apologized. But was he wrong though? But was he wrong though? He was like, "Yeah, I admit I did drink too much, but I had a lot of fun." Anyway, I'm pleasantly surprised. Andy Cohen.
I hope you did too.
Andy Cohen is a very, very surprising figure for at least, he's like, I think the Democrats and the Republicans can both agree that, Andrew Cuomo and all these things. Wow. But we'll see what's to come. Hopefully some good things for New York. I'm really, really, really hoping good things for New York. All right, now we're going to move on to the Daily TrafficK, where I bring you the latest in human and sex trafficking news. Starting with this, Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell, you guys know last week she was found guilty out of 6 counts. She was found guilty of 5. And with that being out of the way, now she has to go to trial for committing perjury. And I did talk a little bit about this, I did talk a little bit about this last week, I believe, that, committing perjury is a sense of, you're lying under oath when I believe they're discovering the truth. And so it kind of disrupts the process of, discovery. So she did lie under oath, and we're going to take a look at what she's going to go to trial for next. Sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell will stand trial for perjury for allegedly lying under oath during the 2016 defamation case brought forward by accuser Virginia Giuffre. The British former socialite found guilty in the late December of procuring young women for partner Jeffrey Epstein has yet to answer to claim she lied to investigators about her involvement with the infamous sex fiend. Maxwell's sex trafficking case dominated national headlines. No, it did not. It did not. No, it did not. Let's not lie. Okay, let's not lie. First of all, it did not dominate national headlines. We had to dig for this stuff. So scared, pump the brakes. That didn't happen. I mean, I know firsthand because I was reporting on this stuff. I was like one of the few people that was actually talking about this day by day throughout her trial, covered it since day one. But they were not talking about this in the national headlines. Tell me I'm lying. You probably found some peppered in headlines here and there, but they were not talking about this in national headlines. Come on, Daily Mail, let's not lie. She faces up to 65 years in prison, but more time could be tacked on to her sentence after the perjury charges are tried. Manhattan federal judge Allison Nathan on Monday asked attorneys to submit a schedule of proposals for the hearing. The New York Post reported those charges filed in 2020 are related to now settled defamation suit, which brought forward by Giuffre. Her lawyers later released a trove of documents they claimed proved Maxwell lied to investigators during the investigation. The legal team has said that it disproved everything Maxwell 60 said with the flight manifest and photographs. Maxwell claimed under oath that only visited Epstein's Palm Beach home once in 2005, but the flight logs showed that she flew there at least 11 times, Giuffre's lawyers said. So it looks like evidence competed with evidence. See, this was my entire theory last week because a lot of people were saying, nothing's going to happen, that this was supposed to be the tell-all case, that that she was going to reveal everything and this was going to be everything, like we were supposed to get bombshell after bombshell. But the thing was that although there were some new details that were revealed out of this trial case, maybe not the ones that were people were expecting, like explosive headlines, but there were some new details. But on top of that, the two defense witnesses, you know, I'm just saying, I'm just pointing this out because not a lot of people have their eyes on this. The two defense witnesses, number one, her name was Kimberly Espinoza, who was Jeffrey Epstein's assistant, and then 𝘏𝘂𝘃, who was Jeffrey Epstein's former girlfriend for, I think, like almost a decade or something, at least his good friend. She was a girlfriend at one point. So anyway, moving on, these two claimed that they never saw Jeffrey Epstein with young women ever. That's what they claimed under oath, that they never saw Jeffrey Epstein with young women ever. So this is what I was trying to say last year, that, you know, in this case, for instance, Ghislaine Maxwell had to stay in trial and evidence had to present itself. And once evidence started coming out, and for instance, you know, the pilots testifying, you know, debunking the whole, she didn't fly that many times on Lolita, and, you know, that it debunked some other evidence, debunked other things she claimed under oath. Now she has to stand perjury. So my thing was, what if in the upcoming cases, if they do go through, for instance, Virginia Roberts Giuffre, I actually believe it's, what's today? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Wednesday the 6th. I'm sorry, Thursday the 6th. I think it's Thursday the 6th. Let me check the date really quick. The 6th is when the judge is supposed to decide whether or not her case against Prince Andrew will move forward or it will be thrown out. Now with the Ghislaine Maxwell conviction, it's more likely that they're going to let the trial stand. You understand? So with that being said, if this trial goes through and there's more evidence to present itself in this new, you know, trial case against Prince Andrew, and it debunks what Kimberly Espinoza and 𝘏𝘂𝘃 said, then now they too would be lying under perjury, and therefore they would have to be tried for perjury if it is found out by the court. So, you know, I know I seem a lot optimistic about these types of things, but you have to understand, like, this happened. This actually happened with Ghislaine Maxwell, where she had to stay on trial, where a lot of people said that nothing was going to happen at the trial and that she was actually going to get off. Now, if we do have those, the other cases, Virginia Roberts Giuffre against Alan Dershowitz. So if these two cases do go through, and there's some sort of detail or evidence or witness testimony that testifies and maybe goes against the under oath testimonies that 𝘏𝘂𝘃 and Kimberly Espinoza made, then that's a perjury charge. And who knows what will come out of that. So that's the whole, like, that is why perjury sometimes backfires, because you say something, you lie, and it implicates more of a deeper hole for that person who lied under oath. I hope that makes sense to you guys, but I hope I'm making sense. But yeah, now she has to stand trial for perjury. That's Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, what happened today? A long secret $500,000 settlement between Epstein and Virginia Roberts is unsealed, but makes no mention of Prince Andy by name. His lawyers argued it would release him from liability. Okay, so let me explain this to you all. So last week, I believe that I reported that, you know, it would possibly implicate on the case in the Ghislaine Maxwell case. I'm sorry. The Ghislaine Maxwell case made it more possible for the Virginia Roberts Giuffre case against Prince Andy to go through. The only thing that would have been a roadblock is if this settlement that was unsealed today, last week, it was unknown what was within this settlement. But now that we know that there's no mention of Prince Andy, then for sure there could be some heavy implications on Prince Andrew. And that's going to blow a hole in the royal family. You understand? So now we're finding out that there is no mention of Prince Andrew in the settlement, because according to Prince Andrew's lawyers, there was some sort of what do you call it? There was some sort of like, is it called indemnity? Or let's read the story. I'm pretty sure it's in here, but there was some sort of clause that would like implicate that he's free or he can't be touched, something like that. Let's take a look at what this has to say. So, a settlement signed by Prince Andrew's accuser that the Duke hopes will lead to the dismissal of her sex assault lawsuit against him was unsealed today. Signed in 2009, Virginia Roberts Giuffre agreed to be paid $500,000 by Jeffrey Epstein to resolve the sex abuse case against him. Andrew's lawyers have claimed that the agreement would prevent Giuffre from continuing battery lawsuit she filed against him in 2020 because it absolved him of liability for future cases. But while the document makes no mention of Andrew by name, it does stipulate other potential defendants are included in the agreement. So Jeffrey Epstein probably lied to Prince Andrew. Jeffrey Epstein, being the schemer that he was, he probably said, don't worry, I got you covered. You're in the settlement. You don't have to worry, all these things. But it does not mention Prince Andrew by name. It appears that the Duke is relying on the vague category of other potential defendants to include him. On Tuesday, New York federal judge Louis. That's tomorrow. That's not Thursday. So tomorrow we're going to find out whether or not this case moves forward. So we're learn whether or not it's dismissed or if it'll continue. Giuffre, a 38-year-old mother of three, and she sued Andrew in federal court in New York in July for infliction of emotional distress and battery. She claimed she was forced to have sex with the Duke more than 3 times in 2001 at Epstein's command when she was 17. Andrew strongly denies her claims and has said that she at his expense. Continued on. The developments come at hellish time for the Duke. Last week, his former close friend, Ghislaine Maxwell, was convicted, and now she faces up to 65 years in jail, prison. The agreement between Giuffre and Epstein reveals that she accepted $500,000 in order to settle all claims against him. In a 12-page agreement, Giuffre agreed to release Epstein's agents, attorneys, predecessors, successors, heirs, administrators, assigns, and/or employees. Giuffre also agreed to release any other person or entity who would have been included as a potential defendant, other potential defendants, all and all manner of action and including state or federal causes of action, suits and demands whatsoever compensatory or punitive damages. So it looks to be that Prince Andy looks to be in trouble. In my opinion, he looks to be in trouble. That looks like trouble. Other defendants, I don't know. What are your guys' opinion on this? Ken says that proves that the prince is involved when he puts out hush money. So here's the thing, though, Ken. This wasn't the prince's hush money. This was Jeffrey Epstein's hush money. And so, but I see what you're saying, though, and that is true. That if he's saying I'm another defendant, you know, it's like the settlement was on the basis of sexual abuse. She settled with Jeffrey Epstein. Now he says other defendants or potential other defendants. Now that's where it gets a little spooky. It's like, okay, well, what are you saying, Prince Andrew? Are you an other possible defendant? What are you trying to implicate yourself in? That's a good catch. Very good catch. So, Prince Andy, I don't know about you, Prince Andy, but yeah, this doesn't look good. I really think that this is going to go through. We'll find out tomorrow. So I had no idea that this was going to happen tomorrow. We'll see. All right, moving on to more local trafficking news. Fox 13 reports this. Operation Boodat rescues 5 missing girls and nets 30 sex offender arrests in New Orleans. 5 missing teenage girls have been reunited with their families, and 30 sex offenders are facing charges after U.S. Marshals Service executed a month-long sex trafficking sting in New Orleans. Dubbed Operation 𝘠𝘠𝘬𝘓, the sting took place from mid-October through mid-December and recovered 5 girls between the ages of 14 and 17 with the assistance of multiple Louisiana law enforcement agencies, according to a news release issued by the U.S. Marshals Service. Of the 30 individuals arrested, the sting, 17 are suspected of violating their sex offender registration requirements, the service added. One of the rescued teens was a 16-year-old girl described by the authorities as a runaway who had been suspected of stealing a relative's car and handgun. She was found at New Orleans' home, living with several adults, including a strip dancer. A second recovery rescued a 14-year-old girl with possible sex trafficking ties who was in the company of a 15 and 17-year-old on the streets of New Orleans. The trio told authorities that they were stranded by adult males after one of the men's cousins was shot, USA Today reported. A third recovery found a 15-year-old runaway with prior human trafficking issues in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The child sex trafficker had recently been murdered, the newspaper reported. The fourth and fifth recoveries rescued 2 sisters, aged 15 and 16, from Baton Rouge apartment where they may have been victims of adult felony criminal sexual activities, the agency added. Individuals arrested included Lorenzo Oliver, whom authorities said had a felony warrant for allegedly raping a 12-year-old female in an abandoned New Orleans home. Oliver had previously been convicted of an attempted forcible rape and sexual battery in 2015 for attempting to rape an adult female at a public Louisiana library in 2013, USA Today reported. Oliver was the 3 sex offenders arrested during the Oliver was of 3 sex offenders arrested during the sting. The designation is the most serious classification, and violators are required to register as sex offenders for life, the newspaper reported. Other arrests included Lamont Versil Morris, whom authorities said had a warrant in San Patricio County, Texas, for allegedly sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl in June of 2021. Just repeat offenders, man. Let me finish this off. A 17-year-old female known as had prior ties to several female runaways from New Orleans, as well as ties to organized gang activities, was also arrested on a felony human trafficking warrant, the agency added. So high tier sex offenders, they've been reprimanded before. 1, 2, 3. It's not 3 strikes you're out. It's like you get 3 tiers and you keep on having the allowance to go on the streets and do whatever you want. This justice system is a joke. This is a joke. This is a joke. You have multiple tiers of being a sex offender. Like, you're a high degree sex offender and you're still on the streets. This justice system is a joke and it needs to be overhauled 100%. Always a reoffender in all these stories. It's always 1 out of 3 stories that have or I'd say even less, 1 out of 2 stories always have a repeated sex offender. All right, this story is coming from MEAWW. A 5-year-old Camry Holland's mom who sold her as a sex slave weeps and says she was my life. Yikes, this is going to get dark. A Georgia mother has been charged with the murder of her 5-year-old daughter and accused of earlier selling the child to a man. I don't know why this is a 5-year-old girl. Why does this say kid? I understand. It's a child, a toddler, if you will. 5-year-old girl accused of selling the kid to a man for sex after giving a teary interview denying her role in abduction. Christy Sipple, 35 years old, who also goes by the name Christy Hoskins, allegedly consented to take payment from someone for having sexual intercourse and sodomy with her underage child, according to court papers. In connection with the death of her daughter, 𝘿𝑚𝑟𝑦 Holland, authorities detained 𝘶𝘂 and accused her of murder and human trafficking. 𝘿𝑚𝑟𝑦's body was recovered in early of December of 2021 in an abandoned house in Phoenix City, Alabama, after 𝘶𝘂 reported her missing in Georgia. 𝘶𝘂 stated that she had nothing to do with their daughter's murder, disappearance in a sad interview with WTVM-TV before her arrest. "I'm a mommy," she says. "I did not have anything to do with this. She was my life. I lived with for her daily. She was my only girl. I have 3 boys and her," she explained. She also said that the media has branded her as an evil person, which she claims is inaccurate. "I'm innocent. I had nothing to do with it. Whoever can do that is disturbing, very sick in the head," she remarked. Jeremy Tremaine Williams, 37, the man whom 𝘶𝘂 allegedly sold her daughter, was also charged with capital murder. According to the warrant, the mother is charged with willfully subjecting another person to work, slavery, or sexual servitude. 𝘶𝘂 appeared in court for the first time December 29, 2021, and was ordered jail without bail. 𝘿𝑚𝑟𝑦 died of asphyxiation with a ligature, according to the charging documents, and her corpse indicated symptoms of sexual abuse. 𝘿𝑚𝑟𝑧's father, through a family representative, made a statement to 𝑊RBL blaming 𝘶𝘂. "The amount of pain Christy has caused by ripping 𝘿𝑚𝑟𝑧 out of our lives will never cease. We're glad to see that she has been arrested. We are one step closer to justice for 𝘿𝑚𝑟𝑧. We hope that justice is served. Christy would have received whatever maximum penalty she can get. She's a monster. A real monster protects and would die for her children. Christy is a monster. My family and I will continue to wrestle with the loss of losing our angel 𝘿𝑚𝑟𝑧. We will ask that you continue to make your news about her and the justice she deserves," the statement stated. Wow, so 2 very combating statements, because the mother is saying she had nothing to do with it, and the father is saying she's a monster. And the daughter, as far as the evidence, had indications that she was sexually abused. A 5-year-old child. That's insanity. All right, and this is coming from Asia1. Coco Planpocalypse has worsened child sex trafficking in Indonesia, including resort paradise Bali. Interesting. Bali is a paradise. It's a very touristy place. So let's see what this has to say. Juwita, who it's going to say pseudonym, this is not the child's real name, thought she had met the one when she encountered 𝘿𝑚𝑟𝑧 on Facebook Messenger app in 2019. Then age 16 and a secondary school student in Denpasar, the capital of Indonesia's resort island of Bali, Juwita spent much of her time online. She thought 𝘿𝑚𝑟𝑧 was sounded warm and caring, and after exchanging hundreds of messages over the course of a few weeks, they finally agreed to meet up, spending hours together at a tourism hotspots around Bali. Then 𝘿𝑚𝑟𝑧 began asking Juwita to live with him in a small rented room in Denpasar. At first, the teenager declined, saying she was still schooling and her parents would be upset, but he was angry and threatened me. I was so scared that he would leave, so I stayed with him, Juwita said. Soon, the couple ran out of money to pay rent and food, and it was then when 𝘿𝑚𝑟𝑧 came up with the idea of setting up an account in Singapore-based messaging app WeChat. The app allows people to communicate with strangers, and 𝘿𝑚𝑟𝑧 suggested Juwita offer prostitution services, which are illegal in Indonesia. Juwita refused at first, but gave in with her when her father, the family's sole breadwinner, lost his job as a tour guide during the Coco Planpocalypse. 𝘿𝑚𝑟𝑧 put a price tag of 500,000 Indonesia rupiah, which is, it says, about $47 an hour, with Juwita. Within a day, she was having sex with as many as 8 strangers, 16 years old. All the money she earned was taken by 𝘿𝑚𝑟𝑧. After a few weeks being held captive, the youngster managed to run away when the room was left unlocked. I was his walking ATM, Juwita said. This wasn't a relationship I wanted to be involved in. 𝘐𝘫𝘬𝘮's experience went far from unique. Indonesia's Ministry of Women, Empowerment and Child Protection recorded a sharp increase in human trafficking cases during the Planpocalypse, with 256 victims in 2021 compared to 213 in 2020. Child exploitation, including the use of minors in criminal activities and hazardous work, is also on the rise, with more than 165 cases reported in 2021, up from 133 in 2020 and 106 in 2019, with most victims coming from West Java and East Nusa Tenggara provinces. According to the most recently available figures from the Global Slavery Index by Australian NGO Walk Free, an estimated $1.2 million Indonesians were enslaved in 2016. Many were trafficked for domestic work at home and abroad, exploited in sex trade. Around 43% of Indonesia's trafficking victims are said to be aged 14 through 17. Experts believe that the number of children being trafficked and exploited in the country is much higher, as many cases go unreported. Indonesia. I mean, this is worldwide, right? We can count this worldwide, but of course, if there's any sort of tourism attached to this sort of trafficking setting, you're going to get people, crossed in from different countries just seeking that out, and is absolutely sick. All right. I hope you all had a fantastic weekend. I wanted to show you this before I went. I actually transferred it to my computer already. Let me see. Where are we? Okay, I wanted to show you this before I left. So go to your local movie theater Showtime site. Whoops, didn't mean for it to do this. Okay, go to your local movie theater Showtime site, and for the dates of January 7th and 8th, tell me what show times you guys see, because I had people do this as an exercise for my Instagram yesterday. And if you read the comments, everybody's saying only the 355 is showing that day on January 8th and 9th. And what's weird is they show times like after these dates. So some are saying like they show times on the 13th, but they're not showing any show times, anything else. So I asked, okay, let me know if this is the only movie you guys see. And a lot of people are like, this is the only movie that I see playing. And actually, I'm sorry, take it back. They say it's either this movie or a lot of people are saying this French looking movie, 𝘏𝘠 𝘏𝘶, which is apparently some Japanese movie. This is actually an old movie. So I don't know why like this is taking precedence over like Spider-Man. Spider-Man doesn't even have show times at my local theater on this day. The 7th and the 8th. So this is very strange. So let me actually show you guys. I'll just read it out loud. The plot for the 355: when a top secret weapon falls into mercenary hands, a wild card CIA agent joins forces with 3 international agents on a lethal mission to retrieve it, while staying a step ahead of a mysterious woman who's tracking their every move. That's weird. And then let me give you the plot for the 𝘏𝘠 𝘏𝘶, which again is just very strange. This apparently came out in 2020, but they're showing it over all these other blockbuster movies. A factory town is covered by chimney smoke, as the townspeople haven't seen the sky in centuries. They no longer believe that stars exist. A chimney sweep and a friendly monster named 𝘏𝘠 decided to prove that the stars are real. Okay, tell me that's weird. Okay, and let me know what you see in your even if you don't watch movies, just tell me what you see in your local movie show times, because again, go look at my comments on Instagram. There were hundreds of people that commented, and they all said the same thing. Only that movie 355, or Private Watching, or another movie that was common that was showing was the RRR, the Revolt Reservoir, something like that. Roaring Revolt Reservoir, something like that. but yeah, that's so strange. The 355, you would think like that would they really like push out all these other movies out of the way, these blockbusters, just to show these? It's very expensive, very strange. But anyway, thank you all so much for tuning in to the Daily Traffic as well as the Nightly with Natly. I really appreciate you all for tuning in and for your support and for always believing in me. I really appreciate it. Thank you all so much for being here. And I will catch you guys in the next episode. Have a great night. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Unravel with Natly Denise. Please give this podcast 5 stars.